We're keeping that in. Hello and welcome to Fantasy Fives, a podcast where I get a guest each week and we chat about their dream five-a-side team. This week, we're joined by, you've heard him grunt already, Brennan Reece. Brilliant stand-up. You might have seen him on Live at the Apollo. You might have seen him third wheel me and my wife when we were in Australia for a long time. That was a weird time, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the phrasing of that sounds, especially in 2025, it sounds like I was just in a chair in the corner of the room.
We were a throuple, essentially. We were before David Hay.
It really got me through it, I think. Yeah.
Do you remember, we had a lovely day at the Aussie Rules. Do you remember that?
Is that when I got burnt down one side?
Yeah. Like, completely. I remember
It was just literally down the middle. I looked like Two-Face. It was, because I just didn't realise how hot it was. We were just having a great time.
But also, you were with a ginger.
That is true.
Maybe you were looking at me going, fuck, I'm not as bad as that.
Yeah, and every time I leant forward, you'd lean forward. I was like, am I being your umbrella here?
I actually probably would have.
But it was a great day. And that match that we went to, the only match I've ever, was voted the best match of the season.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal match. But do you remember, like, people were getting injured and all that, and then me and you were pretending we knew it was going. I really enjoyed it, man.
And we were sat around people that really knew their stuff.
Do you remember the guy Lemo we were sitting next to? It turned out he was, like, very famous.
Yeah.
And then,
but we were just like, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's number 4?
Yeah. We actually were. How's life anyway? I've not seen
good,
it.
I think. Do you know when you just get past 30, you're just like, I think today's okay.
Yeah, I've started getting a sore lower back when I'm waking up.
Yeah,
That's not good. And I've got a new mattress, so I don't think it's that. I think it's just me. I'm fucked.
Yeah. It's like you just need to trade yourself in for a new iPhone.
Yeah, because it was your birthday recently. How did you celebrate? What did you do?
I went, so I had a few days because my family were just trying to be nice about it. So over 3 days, my mum took me to a magic show.
Oh my God, Brennan.
And it was bad.
Of course it was.
It was so bad.
I don't trust magic.
It was really bad. I even messaged Colin Cloud and he went, yeah, he's a wrong one.
Colin Cloud freaks me out, man. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff I've seen, I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
I don't trust you.
I'd be doing it left, right, and centre. If I could do like Darren Brown stuff.
Would you just be manipulating?
Yeah, I'd never pay for a chomp again.
Chomp, that's your go-to. Not even a fudge. Like, what was weird about the magic show then?
So it was, the lad had just no charisma. He could do all the tricks. He's bought all the tricks.
Yeah.
And he'd sponsored ad the shit out of it. So it was in a 2,000-seater. It was sold out. And the show was 3 hours long.
Did you get up as a volunteer?
No. I got up once when I went to go and see Darren Brown.
Did you?
Yeah. I got Darren Brown.
I didn't realize you're like into the magic and kind of.
I've got my sleeves rolled up right now.
Imagine that's your role model.
Yeah,
I can't imagine Darren Brown wearing a Carhartt hoodie though. Let's be honest, man.
I wonder what he'd be like in
I think a dick. I think an absolute dick.
What if you saw him in the street? What's he got on?
I think he's Steve Jobs in it. I think he wears the same thing every day. I think, yeah.
I think the same with like Tom Allen. I'm like, imagine seeing him in a top and just like a t-shirt.
Just imagine seeing him at the beach.
Yeah.
My mate, I was out for drinks last night, and my mate Steve and his missus, and she was saying he just wears the same thing all the time, like blue like jumpers. And she was saying it's really,
yeah. Is he in primary school?
It's got an overall and everything. Yeah. She was saying it's really hard to tell what's like the new one and the old one when she's washing them. They're all ruined. But yeah, I can't imagine just wearing the same thing all the time. I think Darren Brown must be very basic with what he's doing.
Yeah. There's just some psychological thing going on.
Is he at primary school? That's making me laugh. He actually has looked the same since we're in P1, man. He's like the Pharrell of West Scotland, pretty much. And yeah, right. So this is Fantasy Fives. Podcast all about your dream five-a-side team. For you, what does football mean to you? Are you a big football fan?
Yeah, I love it, but not enough for it to ruin my day.
See, that's a lovely position to be in.
Yeah.
See, if it doesn't ruin your day, are we talking you pissed off for an hour, 20 minutes?
I don't even think that anymore. And I think I've been lucky in a way, because when I was a kid, I grew up as a City fan. Still am a City fan, but growing up as a City fan in Manchester was really rubbish.
Yeah.
Because we
Sean
were
Goater.
just bad. Yeah. Even before that, it was just terrible. And they had a couple of good players, but generally bad. Always being beaten by United. Then they went down to the second division when I was like 11, when they brought out a luminous yellow kit to be like, oh, you can see I'm a City fan. It was awful. And then obviously we've had the success over the past sort of 12, 15 years. And so I've sort of had both extremes of it, which is really lucky in a way, because then you appreciate
Which did you prefer? Winning the trophies, I'd imagine.
I reckon if you asked anyone, you're like,
Was it better than the Champions League or playing Chesterfield away?
yeah, Port Vale was one of the first games I ever went to. Yeah, you just
you and Robbie Williams and Jonathan Wilkes on a day out.
Yeah, Jonathan Wilkes was like, I'm friends with him. Yeah, we know, mate. But as like playing football was always terrible.
Oh, really?
Like just.
I don't think we've ever played, actually.
No.
Did you play in that game in Melbourne?
Probably not.
I got told I was taking it too seriously and asked to leave.
Oh, you're one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, I was against like May Martin and stuff, and I think I slide tackled one of Axis of Awesome, and he was fine with it, Lee, and everyone else was like, yeah. I remember Larry walking back with Larry Dean. Larry was like, you need to rein it in. Joel Domit's just in handstands in the corner the whole time, like that weird kid in P2.
Stood next to a mascot going, who do you think it is?
Imagine! That'd be so good.
You're the type of person, like people like that, who make me not want to play five-side ever.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we're in a cage on a Sunday morning.
But I'm like that. I enjoy not making people all that kind of stuff, but I was just playing football normally.
Fair.
But I think there was a lot of precious people there.
This shows how bad I am at football. I'm not bad. I can defend. But then the ball comes to me and I just have to kick it, like welly it.
With all due respect, that's what shit players say. I can defend.
I can though. I remember once, because they used to do quite a lot of like Manchester comedian versus Liverpool comedian games.
Yeah.
5-a-side. And I remember defending Rob Thomas, who is...
Big boy.
He's a big boy.
But also played to a decent level, he says. Like, I mean, he says, I've heard him say
we've all had
80
trials
times.
with Blackburn, mate. And he couldn't do anything.
Do you mark him at the game?
I was just so close.
He'd be livid about that as well,
which
is good.
And then I tripped him up, and I've never seen a man rock himself still. He just sort of went down because he's
a big boy.
He's a big boy, but he sort of none of his limbs hit the floor. He just sort of came down like a pirate ship.
Wormed it. Like Scottish hottie.
But then just sort of had to wait for the momentum to take him.
That's not what humans do.
Well, that's what he did.
Oh, is it filmed like that?
No.
Did I would imagine from knowing Scouse comics, where I started doing stand-up for spending a lot of time in Manchester, I'd imagine Liverpool comics would take it much more seriously than the Manchester comics.
Much, much more serious. And then when I came off the pitch afterwards, and this is going back 10 years, like Adam Rowe came up to me and he went, you just look like you'd be good at football.
That's what I call Mark Jennings syndrome.
Is he no good?
No, not at all, man.
Because he looks...
I remember he's the only guy I've ever seen playing a game of football who tried to get his hair out the way when he was heading. It was incredible. Yeah, Jennings got all the kit, but nah, no skills, man. So we'll go to your 5-a-side team. Have you got a name for your team?
Oh, I mean, I guess a lot of things. If I was to like put into like FIFA, and when you get to pick yourself and you put them all as 99, and you do, it'd be like something like Reese's Pieces.
I like that.
Yeah,
like
I'll go for Reese's Pieces.
Do you always put yourself as 99, or are you honest and be like, oh,
if I was honest, it just wouldn't work. Yeah, I wouldn't even be bronze on a badge.
Oh, that's bad. You'd be one of those pro evil, just bald kind of generic ones. Right. So you have to have one player from the team you support. So we'll start. Have you got a formation in mind?
For 5-a-side?
Some people do, some people don't.
I think one in net.
And
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this because some people play where you can have like fly keeper, which I love. I think they should.
You can have that. You can have that.
Right, fly keeper then.
Yeah. So we would say up here, any man.
Any man.
Any man. So any man can jump in.
Oh, see, I think fly keeper is the keeper can just come out.
Yeah. So Paul, what would you call that? Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Okay. So who are you going for as your keeper?
So I had a choice of two. And one of them is just a woman no one will know. She just lived near me. Yeah. This woman called Barbara, who lived on the corner near my house. And
is Barbara a footballer or?
No, but she'd always have a football in her hands because when we kick it in a garden,
she's a confiscator.
She was a confiscator.
Oh.
She was a popper of footballs.
And you're going to put her in. That's a great tactic, to be fair.
Yeah.
No one's going to score when she's fucking knifing them.
She was horrible. I think her husband had died, so I get it. But but any football, and she would just come out and she'd be yelling and trying to get into a garden to get the foot. Felt like.
So like it's like you're doing a ninja mission.
It was like I was in 1917. You're like,
I feel like you could have auditioned for that film, did you?
No, I think I was maybe a bit too late.
Was it? Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of thing you'd be like, fuck it, what's Brennan in Dunkirk? Like, what's happening there?
There were a few of them back in the day where you go like, oh, the one that like I auditioned for like The Hobbit.
Did you?
Yeah.
And like, how far are we getting in this?
Oh, I met Peter Jackson. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, and I was so shit.
Were you?
Yeah,
Because you've got the hair. It's,
Like,
kind of just need to be curled.
it was to
don't you?
play an elf.
Oh, it's
I
not
know,
the best.
so I didn't have the hair.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of when I went drama school. In the third year, they had not teachers. They had like guests come in and go around and tell you what your casting was. So there might be an agent come in and they'd go around and they'd say
That's
things like,
brutal.
you might be like, all right, so Ray, obviously Scottish, so like quite powerful lead, beard. So maybe like if they remade like Braveheart or anything,
Shrek.
or Shrek for, and then they go to a girl and they'd be like, oh, your surname's like Stefanovic, so very beautiful lead, very classic looking. And then they just got to me and they were like, elves and gay, and then carried. Not even a thought. But I remember going in for these auditions for The Hobbit, and I was thinking, yeah, he's nailed that.
Oh, that's so good, man. Right, so Barbara's going to be your goalie.
So I think Barbara's going to be the
Who
goalie.
was the runner-up?
Was like Mr. Tickle. I think would be sick.
That's a really good point.
He'd be
Do you
so
know,
sick.
no one's gone into the Mr. Men yet, and that is a great shout, man.
Yeah,
So who do you want to go, Barbara or Mr. Tickle?
I think just for everyone else's safety, I'd probably go Mr. Tickle because he's red. He's like,
Does Barbara have a knife with her?
yeah, she's got a knife,
I kind of like that edge.
and I imagine it's in like, do you know, in a Scottish wedding when they put in the footy socks.
Yeah. we call that a ski and do. When they put a knife in their footy socks. We absolutely fucking piss off a nation. That is incredible. So she's got a ski and do, but it's like a meat cleaver to burst the ball.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So who are we going for? Final choice, Barbara or Mr. Tickle?
Mr. Tickle.
Okay, so great. I love this. What do you think he'd be like playing style wise? Are you just concerned about him saving the ball?
No, I think he'd be all right, actually. I think he'd be like, come on. But that'd be right down. His arms would be like this. Come
Like
on, lads.
tickling
Yeah,
their keeper and all
come
that.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine getting fingered by Mr. Tickle?
Oh. Because it's the arms that are doing it. The fingers are just, they're not
Has he got fingers?
stumps, are they?
Well, they're kind of jelly like. I'm going to have to Google this.
I think he's got hands.
Do you think he's got hands?
You can't tickle with a stump.
Right, we've got an episode name. Mr. Tickle.
I think he's got 3 fingers and a thumb.
He does.
Yeah.
How? Like, that's. And he's got a wee cap as well. So he's ready to. He's taking his hat off for you.
It looks like an old sort of, do you know when you'd get capped?
Yeah. So you've got Mr. Tickle and goals. That is a great shout to start. Who's your next player?
All right, I'm going to have to go for, it was like the first player I ever saw where you go, oh my God.
Okay.
And I don't know whether he's just famous amongst City fans, but Georgie King-Clancy
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say him.
I couldn't believe it. It was like when the first time I saw like Arsenal play in the early 2000s, you go, oh my God, they're all doing it. And just to see it, I get why kids like love like Ronaldo and Messi, because he was incredible. He could do tricks when everyone else was just like playing like Stoke still do now.
Just shots fired at Stoke of all teams, man.
I went to go and see Stoke about 10 years ago and I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, I went to an away, was it Preston Stoke I went to one time when I was driving and I was like, why do I hate myself? Like, why have I done this? It's just brutal.
It was more like rugby. They were just like banging into each other, falling over.
I used to love the big throw. Georgie King-Clancy was phenomenal. He came up here for a bit.
Did he? Was he a Celtic player?
Dundee.
Oh, yeah.
Went to Dundee. I'm 99% sure he went to Dundee. Because Dundee had, do you know about their ownership?
No.
So Ivano Bonetti came over and George Di Stefano came in, who was a war trial lawyer. So he'd represented like Slobodan Milosevic and stuff like that. And he took over Dundee. And then they signed Claudio Caniggia, who'd been in the World Cup and all that. And all of a sudden they went into administration.
Wow.
It was all dodgy, all phenomenal. But King-Clancy, I remember watching him. He was just like a wee cheat code. He was so good. And like when you saw him at City, did he stand out then? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I remember being taken to like Main Road by like my brother. My brother's like 10 years older, so he got it. But I just watched that player all the way through the game. I wasn't asked about tactics. I just wanted to see him run through players. Yeah. And it was,
Do you ever want to take him to meet Barbara or?
I think he probably would have been stabbed.
Imagine you were at Georgie King-Clancy. Oh, fuck, he kicked the ball in. I wish he'd picked Mr. Tickle. What would have happened, man? Right, so that's a good start. You got Georgie King-Clancy, who, as a Man City fan, the players, I've got a list in my head of who I hoped you would pick. Kincladze's one of them. There's another one that stands out to me, but we'll see who comes in. So you've got Mr. Tickle, Georgie Kincladze.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Now, as a man who's in his 30s, I know how hard it is to get like 5 men together.
Yeah.
Especially on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be someone, and I don't know whether they're any good at football. I've seen some videos of them. They seem like good chat. But I think the reason why I'd have them is for morale.
Okay.
And to get these other 4 men to come along. So I think like Sydney Sweeney would be great.
Why do you think they're able to make all the men come along?
Just good chat, really. Like, mainly the chat. Just like quite a lot of chat.
Can you imagine seeing a picture and it's Sydney Sweeney, Georgie Kincladze, and Mr. Tickle? You're like, what the fuck is happening?
And
there?
you know Mr. Tickle, what's on his mind. In the team picture, do you know when it's like people all got their arms around each other? He's all the way around.
Yes. She's 4 away and she's still there. I don't think I've ever seen Sydney Sweeney act in anything. I don't really watch a lot of films. Does she
You could have watched the films and you wouldn't have seen her act in anything.
Is it that bad?
She's okay.
Okay.
But in interviews, she just seems like a...
If your casting director came in, what would her typecast bit? You were elves and gays.
So she'd be like maybe like one of the life rafts at the Titanic. She's this very buoyant lady.
Okay.
Yeah,
And go, wait, wooden?
Quite wooden, yeah.
Okay. What's she been in? What would?
So she was in Madam Web, which was a flop.
I've never heard of that.
It was like a Spider-Man type spin-off.
I realised I sound like Michael Owen when I went. I don't watch a lot of films, man. Because what's he watched like 9 films in his life?
Is it?
Yeah, something like that. I watched. Have you seen? I switched it off the night. The new Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon.
It looks bad, doesn't it?
It was awful.
Was it?
We were about 35 minutes in, and Haley's kind of usually like, oh, we'll see how it goes. And she just out loud, she went, I hate this. So he's just stopped.
That relief.
And then we watched the Boys on documentary instead.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Is it sad though?
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode, but yeah, I think it's going to come out that Louis Walsh is an absolute dick. So I'm looking forward to it.
Come out.
Yeah. Have you ever met Louis Walsh? I feel like you would have met Louis Walsh.
No, I think he's probably tried. When I was 22, he would have been like, you're free to judge his houses. I'm like, I've not applied for X Factor.
I'm just in co-op. Like,
yeah, he always seemed a bit.
Yeah, so I think they've been chatting about it, so it is very good. Right, so Sydney Sweeney, whereabouts in the pitch do you think she's playing?
She's the Rodri.
Okay.
She's just in the middle.
Yeah, breaking stuff up, just man marking, making sure that everyone, like, because everyone will be looking at her. I played in a charity football game once, and there was a model in the other team that was absolutely stunning. And at one point, she was marking me at a corner, and she held my hand, and I forgot what I was doing. And then I was like, "So, do you think Sydney Sweeney would be doing that?
Yeah,
outsmarting people."
And I reckon she'd be sneaky good.
Yeah,
I reckon she's like netball good.
Okay.
So good at pivoting.
Keira Knightley, Perminda Nagra, kind of bend it like Beckham style.
But
okay.
I think she also knows that she might be the fittest person around.
Yeah, so she's aware of it. Yeah. Okay.
And she'd be saying like to the other team, she'd like, "Oh, good kick, boys," and they'd all be like, "Oh."
But you're gonna look like the fittest person in your team when you're up against Georgie Kincladze and Mr. Tickle. Like,
and also, I think for the kit, it would be like, do you remember when in the paper they just painted on a kit occasionally?
Yeah,
it'd be that.
So okay, for all the players.
Yeah, I'm not a sexist.
Yeah, we're doing equality. So everyone's got a painted strip on. Okay, cool. So who's the 4th player wearing this painted strip?
Let me just consult my
there's your wallet going, dropping that.
Okay.
I'm fascinated to see who's next, Brendan. So
oh yeah, so this one is a lad called Mark Smith, who was at primary school with.
Yes, I love these. Yes,
the fastest lad in the year.
Okay.
You always remember the fastest lad of the year.
Wayne Lee.
Yeah. And I don't know why that was currency, but he was fastest lad of the year.
And could he play?
Yeah, but he could play because he could boot it
And just
and then he'd just be on the wing and outrun
everyone.
27 over 11-year-olds.
Oh, so what was it called? Mark
Smith.
Mark Smith. Such a bland name as well.
Yeah.
And were you pals with Mark Smith? Or
I was pals with Mark Smith.
did you become jealous of his running prowess?
I was just never wanting to be good at sports.
So if he's number 1, he's beaten 27 others. Where were you ranking in this, Brendan?
All right, put it this way. I used to go to football training every week and I never played.
Oh, as
And
a kid as well.
as a kid.
Jeez, man.
for the young Aldwinians. And
Say that
then
again?
They were called the Young Aldwinians.
I didn't know you went to Eton.
I know. I don't know why.
Such an odd name.
Because it was on a council estate.
Trying to big you up.
And my dad came to watch a game. So they brought me on near the end.
Okay, a petty sub.
Like it was my testimonial.
Getting the penalty
Yeah.
at the end and all that.
And I used to have these big old thick glasses. I've got really bad eyesight. So I took my glasses off, went up for the corner. They flung a corner in and I ran into the post and was off within 30 seconds.
Is that true?
That's true.
That is horrific.
So I'd say I was 27. No, there was a lad called Asif Abbas who was in a not a wheelchair, but he was in a pram as an 11-year-old.
What?
Yeah, like a fold-out pram.
What do you mean, like a walker?
Like a pram. No, he wasn't on his back.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, he was like, do you like one of those that folds out a bit like a deck chair? Like a very 90s pram.
Okay. So he was cutting about that.
Yeah, he was in that. So I'd like to say I was 26.
And you were
at least.
narrowly better than...
I must have been. There was surely a few others. But Asif Abbas was...
And have you seen Mark Smith recently? When was the last time you saw him?
I saw him about 10 years ago and he was working the deli counter at Morrison's.
Oh. Was he also doubling up with the hot chicken bit?
He
Sometimes
could
they
have
do
been,
that,
yeah.
but he's so fast. He's like straight across the store.
Yeah, I'd get to the other bit and go, hang on.
Why is that man in a pram? Like, what's happening here? That can't be a real thing, Brennan, man.
Yeah, and he had one of those things because he couldn't hear very well. So he had one of those things that the teacher...
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, like the blocks?
Hearing aids, yeah.
And we'd get to play with it, I guess, in the break time.
And just what, chat into it?
Yeah, so he'd be like in his pram over there, and then we'd be like, as if this is God. Yeah.
Your school's weird, man.
It was rough.
And what was Mark Smith just doing a bleep test? Or
Yeah, he's just running around.
How do you think Mark Smith would get on with Sidney Sweeney? Was he a charismatic kind of guy?
He was, in the nicest way I could say this, he was a handsome young boy.
Okay.
That
it's not gone, from Louis Walsh.
It's not gone great. Yeah. But it's now changed.
Oh.
He's now like a man. He had like the loveliest, thickest black hair.
Yeah, and now is he bald?
He's bald, yeah. He had alopecia and
happens
just,
to the best of us, doesn't it? So, Mark Smith, who is the final piece of your fivesome?
Okay, maybe my favourite player for not footballing reasons.
Great.
Another Man City player.
Yep.
Mario Balotelli.
Box office.
I just
Absolute
love
box
it.
office.
The stories that you'd get for the pub at that night. He'd be kicking off with kids.
Remember someone was getting bullied and he
And he
took him in the car and then drove in?
pulled up, and
Was
then
it probably-
threatened the bullies.
Probably fucking Barbara. He's
Yeah.
trying to beat her up. So Balotelli is a great shout. What was it you loved about him?
Because he wasn't not good, was he?
He was phenomenal. Remember the goal score with his shoulder and all
Yeah.
that?
And I love it when someone can back their arrogance up with skill.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't even know if he still plays anymore, but
I think last time I heard he was out in maybe Turkey. He was in Italy for a bit in the Swiss second division and all that.
what a shame, because he got in his own way.
Yeah.
But when he was at City, he just came through at the right times.
Yeah, he was perfect at that
And he
time.
was just being a gobshite. Did you ever hear the story about, because he was always playing pranks on people. I remember once getting tickets and I was sat literally behind the players. And it was when Roberto Mancini was the manager. And we were losing. And Mario Balotelli just kept squirting him with water. And he was going, and he'd go.
Just so childish,
Yeah.
man. Do you remember him trying to put a bib on? And he just couldn't do it. My favourite Balotelli thing was when he scored against United and he did the why always me thing, because he'd been letting off fireworks in his house and the fire brigade came and the press had done a story and he was like, why is it always me you're talking about? Because you're letting off fireworks in your house, Mario.
And then there's loads of bad stories like that. He turned up to the council offices to pay his parking tickets. And then he said, what other ones are outstanding? And he paid everyone's. Like hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of parking tickets. And then, because he was pissing people off, Kyle Walker, who is a good player, was a better player a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably a bit of a knob.
Oh, I think undoubtedly. I say that, a friend of mine worked with him on something and said he was a delight. But then
That's the tough thing, isn't it?
he's
And I
not,
think he
he's not
thinks
the
he's
mother
very
of his
funny.
children. Yeah.
And he put a trout under Mario Balotelli's seat.
Yeah, classic.
And the car got written off because they couldn't get the smell out.
That happened up here with Ali McCoist as well. Yeah, I'm sure it was Ali McCoist and no, it was Gaza. It was Gaza that did it. A very Gaza thing to do.
Yeah.
One time, my dad was weirdly friends with Gaza.
What?
My dad goes fishing a lot, and Gaza would go fishing. And one time I remember I was like, "That's Gaza," and Dad was like, "Yeah, I know." And my dad went
Just on his way to Ralmo, like, stop.
My dad went over. Gaza just slapped him, and then they both laughed, and then they walked away. And I was like 9. I was like, "What is happening here, man?"
That's so mad.
So odd. How would fishing outside Glasgow? Absolute madness. Right, that's a good team with Balotelli. How do you think the dressing room is going to be? You've got Balotelli. Is he going to go on with Mark Smith?
Well, I think it's got to be Mark Smith, 11-year-old Mark Smith.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's not Mark Smith now.
Right, so you
It's 1998 Mark Smith.
So your team, let me go through this team. You've got Mr. Tickle and goal.
Yeah.
You've got Georgie Kincladze.
Yeah.
You've got Sidney Sweeney.
Yeah.
You've got an 11-year-old boy called Mark Smith. And you've got Mario Balotelli. I think Mario Balotelli and Mr. Tickle would get up to absolute nuisance
It'd
at
be
all
yeah,
times.
all sorts.
They'd be in the showers and he'd be making them go through doors and all that stuff. That'd be great, man. That's a good team. So Reese's Pieces, it's an incredible team you've put together. We need a manager. So
Okay.
the rule for the manager is it has to be someone in your phone book. It can be whoever you want from any walk of life. Someone you think, and this is quite a ragtag bunch of people you need to put together. So who do you think would be able to manage these people?
I think the only person for the job would be Joe Lycett.
Now, this sounds like a team Joe would 100% make because
Totally.
you did tour sport for
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
and you went to like Australia, New
Been
Zealand.
all over the place, yeah.
What was that like?
Amazing. He's just so great at.
He's all over, man.
Do you know when I'm bad in the mornings? Do you know when you're touring about and you have to get in a car or go wherever?
Yeah.
You just go, oh God. He's just always good at being.
Is he always on?
Not in a way where it's like, oh, mate, give it a rest.
Yeah.
Do you know those comedians where you're like, right, we're not doing a bit, but he's just always lovely and polite and giving. But he's also got that little, like, do you know when you go, we shouldn't? But he's like,
Yeah.
we should. He's a very good drunk.
Last time I saw him, we had a few beers in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you are everything you say you are.
Yeah.
He's just like 100% authentic and funny.
He's so funny. I remember, this is what type of piss Joe Lycett is. I remember when we were on tour once somewhere and he just gets an idea, but he'll go with it, especially if it's silly. And he was like, I think I'm going to, I'm getting a kitchen extension and I think I'm going to message the mayor of Birmingham because I wanted to open it. So at 3 a.m, he rings the mayor on and he's going, hello, this is me, Joe Lycett. Woke up in the morning, the mayor was doing it. And she came and she cut a ribbon.
And did you drunk dial then on at 3 a.m?
Have I once, this is awful. I once did this TV show when I very first started. It was like a competition show and I won the show. And
What was that?
It was this show on Sky called Don't Stop Me Now. It was rubbish. It was like a gong show.
I don't even remember that.
No
Brennan,
one
man.
saw it. It was great. So you only had to win an episode. So I was about 6 months into comedy.
Yeah.
And they had like singers on, dance troupes, variety acts, and comedians.
Who was hosting it?
So they had a woman, I think she's called Kirsty Gallagher,
Yes.
that did
She's Scottish up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great. And then they had a guest host each week, and mine was Freddie Flintoff.
Okay. Oh, good.
And he was great. And he was still drinking then.
Yeah.
So I go and do this, and you're attached to something in a hilarious way. So when all the audience have got keypads, and if 50% of the audience don't like you, you go for a trapdoor, you might go on a bungee cord through a wall, like mad.
How have I not heard of this show?
Because I don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Amazing. When was this? What year were we talking?
2011?
Okay. Oh,
Maybe
okay.
2012.
Okay.
So, so you had to do 2 minutes, and then you went through to the final of that episode where you just go head to head with one other person and do an extra minute.
Yeah.
And the winner every week got 25 grand.
And you won it.
And I won it. And I was beating this guy. This guy had flown over from Vegas. He's like 50 years old.
Was it a magician?
No, he was a guy. He was a juggler, but he'd bounce the balls on the keys of a piano and play a song.
That's pretty impressive to be right.
I've never seen a man so raging about like me be like, and he loses out. So then Freddie Flintoff goes, we were in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, let's go out. Let's go and celebrate. And we got levered.
You, Freddie Flintoff.
I think it might just be me and Freddie Flintoff.
Okay.
Twatted. I woke up in whatever hotel they'd put us in, face down in the bathroom, and there was an empty bottle of rum. And this is, to answer your question, have I ever rung anyone
Did you
at night?
ring the Vegas guy?
No, I rung a Babe station because I'm like, I'm rich. And I had a £30 bill for Babe station.
Oh, that could have been a lot worse.
Oh, it could have been so much worse.
Do you remember any of the chat or who you had?
No, but I imagine it was me being like, I don't know if you've heard of Sky One.
That is so good, man. That's much better than.
That's great.
Would you rather now at the stage of your life, because you don't drink as much anymore, think you're in a position now where you're more likely to phone Babe Station at night time or the mayor of Birmingham?
I think I'd ring the mayor of Birmingham, but with the energy of a Babe station.
Right, so let's recap this team. So, Reese's Pieces, great name. You've got Mr. Tickle, Georgie Kinkladze, Mark Smith, age 11.
Age 11.
It's got a wee asterisk. Sydney Sweeney and Mario Balotelli being managed by Joe Lycett. That is a good team.
I think so. I think everyone's turning up.
Yeah. Who do you think's like organising the night out?
Ooh, I think it's Tickle.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
He's just got
I think Tickle's a perv.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
And he's like,
I cannot wait till we get a citation from Roger Hargreaves for this episode. Brennan Reece, that was your Fantasy Fives team. That was amazing. I loved that.
That's great fun.
What have you got anything you want to plug? What you doing?
Socials
Socials where
Yeah, come and follow me on Instagram, Brennan Reece.
There you go.
There you go.
You're going to go on holiday after this, so you have a nice time. Thank you, Brennan.